we want these drivers to think their way through every lap versus seat of their pants through, some of those difficult moments where you need to drive within the limit of your talent, your car, and your racetrack. So, keeping it measured and keeping it solid it's a huge goal. Always is, but it's a huge goal especially for 2025.
Green flag.
Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
This episode is brought to you by Deechworks Fuel Systems. Visit deechworks.com for all your fuel system needs. On this episode, we're going to talk about a new class announced at PRI 2024, I guess. Yeah, not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago. Gridlife Grand Touring, or known as Gridlife GT. Joining me, someone who's making Lambo doors great again, a semi-retired race car driver who's also the ringmaster of the traveling circus that is Gridlife. Adam Jabaay, welcome back to the podcast, sir.
Thanks for having me on, man. You reached out when we announced a class. You're like, hey, I need to do a podcast. Do you want to do a podcast? And I said, yeah, we probably should promote this thing, shouldn't we?
Yeah. I just assumed, since you have slip angle and all the associated track tuned, I think is what you guys are all conglomerated under, that you would have been doing this traveling circus or road show on the podcast side, but you hadn't yet.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle to get out of the burnout and mental fatigue of the year. It was a wild year, but trying to make a turn in 2025 and be stoked about everything. So that's the goal right now. Yes, even Slip Angle suffered a little bit. We were, we would take some time off of recording because it got to the point where it's I don't want to talk about cars right now. My brain is too fried. I got to think about too many other things. And but we did a bunch of them at PRI. It was becoming fun again, which is cool. So
okay, I mean that's good. You have a lawyer.
I'm also stoked that Deechworks is a sponsor of yours, because I knew one of the dudes that started Deechworks 20 years ago. He used to hang out with my brother, Mike Deech, and my brother built a turbo kit on his 350Z back in the day. So
yeah, they're listeners of my podcast.
That's rad.
And then trying to sort of get into the road race world. So
yeah, we did some drag racing stuff back in the day. Last time I saw Mike, I think he bought us lunch at a Chili's in Northwest Indiana. And that was probably the last time I saw him. So, probably in 2006. So 19 years ago. His brother had just started doing stuff. Dave, I think was his brother's name.
Yep.
And they were playing with some old school Bosch injectors, and I had a prototype set of theirs on my hatchback in 05, maybe 06, 05. And I just done a built motor, and they were like, hey, run these injectors. And so I did that for a while. And then I had a different set of the skinnier, newer style, the better ones that everything has nowadays. And I ran those on my car. I ran those in my car until I rebuilt it in 2019. So, and I've kind of lost contact with them. So
they're around.
So hi Mike. Hi Dave.
I'm sure they'll reach out.
Yeah. Anyway, that's rad.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's catch up a little bit. The blurry year of 2024. I think it was that way for most folks, but
yeah, it was a good one. Just crazy blurry.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking a little bit before the podcast record button got hit, and you were just my brain and time doesn't work the same way. And I think it's kind of helpful for you because you guys had a pretty action-packed year with Gridlife.
Yeah, we're actually pulling back a little bit on quantity of events just because I think in one of the slides at our State of the Grid, which is our mass gathering of drivers and sponsors and friends at PRI, which was overwhelmingly well attended. We were blown away. We rented a twice the size of room as we've had the last few years. I think there was like 400 or 500 people there, which blew me away. When I walked into the room, I was like, oh, this is going to be so empty. It's going to feel so empty versus the last 2 years that people are like outside the door. Right. And then they all showed up. So much love to the friends and sponsors and everybody that tracks and everybody that showed up at State of the Grid. But in one of the slides, it said, more isn't better, better is better is kind of like one of our mottos or themes for the year for 2025. So,
yep.
We're going to try to not full festivalize, but like effectively, spectators are kind of what make Gridlife sort of viable. It's a really hard business to make money in. But we get a lot of like organic spectators to some of we used to call them club rounds, like Autobahn, say, for instance. Like it's kind of like one of our home tracks, and we would always get like several hundred spectators without really putting on there's the racing show. There's like some drifting sometimes. Some years there is, some years there wasn't at Autobahn. And pit race, we didn't really push it for spectators, and we had I think it was 700 people show up at the gate and just buy tickets, which, it's made us kind of think like, why aren't we pushing this more and like promoting the camping element, like creating some like nighttime hangs, like we did at pit race. We did what do we call it? Snack battle, where the tech garage just became like a bring your own food, bring your own beer. We'd lay out some tables, and then people just brought a bunch of food and we mingled until midnight. It was great. We had done that previously at a few other events. And it's a little colder in October in Pittsburgh, but like it was pretty nice during the day, pretty decent at night. It was like a good chill, like last camping weekend for some people. Had a bunch of spectators camping out, just hanging out up on Spectator Hill. Really like a good weekend. And we didn't even talk about it until afterwards. So we thought if we space some of these things out and do a few less, like maybe we can throw all of our efforts and all of our, the marketing plans and like strategy stuff behind it, and like keep building all the local communities and like give them a place to come hang out. So like pit racing in particular has got a huge skid pad, great racetrack. We can do drifting stuff all day on the skid pad. We can do it on big track. And now we'll have more wheel to wheel. We're going to bring Rush there. People love to watch wheel to wheel. So we'll bring Rush, GLGT, the new class, and obviously Gridlife Touring Cup, which is going into, it's hard to believe, it's going into its 7th season, I think, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 7th season. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think it would last 3 events, and then going into its 7th season. So, yeah.
You had to think it was going to last a little longer than that. It was pretty well thought out.
I hoped it did, but like I've always like been real nervous when we introduce like anything new. I'm like, well, they're all going to figure out that we're phonies. Me and Abe, or me and whoever's helping me with rules in any particular class. It's like, oh, they're going to realize that we don't know what we're doing. They're going to finally figure it out. So fooled them again.
Well,
it's a real, actual fear.
Oh, I mean, I remember, I'm sure I could just search it, but on Road Race Autocross, the first post you made, I'm kicking this idea around, and that post ran wild for like a solid week, and then it sort of tapered off, and then somebody, I don't know what, got updated, and then it ran hard for another month or so, and I was like, okay, here we go,
Yeah, I think there was multiple posts before the one that still gets bumped, which I think Christian Ship started. Mm-hmm. We announced it, I think, on Christmas Day of 2018. And I can't recall ever being so nervous about anything in relation to Gridlife, even like events that like we're walking into and we're like, wow, we're going to lose a lot of money on this event. Like I was more nervous just talking about Touring Cup for the first time. But I mean, largely it got very cool feedback, and even the first event was like a great weekend. It was one of our first ever live streamed events too. And I got stuck on the live stream with Tom O'Gorman, and Tom's easy to be stuck on the live stream with. He carries most of the weight. I was so nervous that first time. And the first time they took the green at Mid Ohio, I think it was like a field of like 25 or 30 or something, but it was a solid field, especially for like, we announced it 3 months earlier. But I was very nervous again about Gridlife GT, which we haven't talked about in specifics, but effectively it's aimed a little bit more at faster cars, kind of like it seems like in the track rat world, 10 years ago, it was, fast Honda Civics, Miatas, things like that were so common. And like the tuner cars, the cars that like, weren't built towards like a spec Miata or improved Touring A or Honda Challenge. Honda Challenge is probably the most tuner friendly classing rules because you could actually do some engine swaps and stuff. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a whole lot of SEC STL had came out a few years earlier, and that was like sort of tuner friendly, but like not super tuner friendly, even though it's called Super Tuner. It's Super Touring actually, I think. But I was on the rules committee for 2 years. I should remember what it's called. My vision was that like you could like take any general track rat race car, somebody buys an old spec Miata, puts a K series in it, puts a turbo BP motor in it, like whatever. Where are you going to race that? That's not like just like a catch-all, class. And where are you going to race it with decent parity? You're not going to race it anywhere. I wanted to build a place where, okay, I could hit, if I hit the power to weight level, I put the right tires on it. Like I wanted a bunch of cars that were sort of homeless to have a home, and that level exists again in this faster level. I see, especially spurned on by there's half a dozen people the very first day that we announced Touring Cup that were like, "You can ever do this for faster cars?" Like sending me emails. Pro Awesome Devin was, I think, the first one that messaged me. He was like, you can do a faster class? I'm like, not now. I got to do one of these first.
Yeah, proof of concept, and then work.
Yeah, for years and years, people have asked for it. And then if you look at say a WRL GTO class, right? It's sort of a catch-all for like TCR, GT4, fast Corvette stuff. Like there's a ton of that stuff in the wheel-to-wheel world. And a lot of those things don't have a great place to sprint race unless they really conform to like a few different classes. Like Super Touring, I don't know, in NASA, it would be like 2 maybe, would probably be your best bet. But like that's mixed class racing. We don't do mixed class racing. So we're gonna try to do a single class field of wheel to wheel and see if people really like super sprints too. We're doing it in the same format as GLTC, so 4 times a weekend, 20-minute races. Let's see how it works. So getting a lot of inquiry from people that have those cars, because a lot of people that have those cars, like they use them as track day cars. Maybe once or twice a year they take them out to a WRL or something, or jump into a catch-all group. But getting a lot of inquiry from those people that own those things. Like a used, 5-6 year old GT4 car doesn't really race well in SRO or IMSA or anything anymore. So, and they're a great deal. Like if you're going to build something fast, you might as well just buy it instead.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of those cars are like crazy development and like a crazy good deal, especially if it's been well maintained. So. Yeah, very excited about it. I'm nervous. I can feel like just talking about it, I can feel myself getting nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I think it'll be fun. So
you're right, though. If you look at the street cars that are converted, modeled after whatever the race cars that we all enjoy, a 300 horsepower street car is easily found.
Everywhere.
What's the GR86 coming out at, like 240 or something out of the break?
Yep.
Like we didn't have that. There was, so now those are the Mustangs, the Corvettes, the everything that's been out there. The tuner cars are sort of gone, and they still have a home, to be honest. But
the tuner cars have just gotten faster and newer and bigger. Typically,
right?
Like there's still tuner cars. They just might have flat 6s or V8s or bigger high revving V6s.
Right.
There's still a ton of K series stuff out there, but I mean, you look at like the first 4-port K series came out 21, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, maybe. Like those are getting to be old motors, still amazing engines. but and the same thing with like the LS, like the LS platform debuted in '97 in the Corvette, but like that's such a flexible platform that I would envision, C5, C6 vets running in and winning Touring Cup, and then also the same car having the capability to up-tune, maybe add some more tire, take some weight out, whatever, and be able to run a GT as well. So, we'll see where it goes. Cautiously optimistic and nervous is where my head is at right now. But, we're excited about 2025 with the schedule having decent spreads in between things. And we had such a great year with the Rush SR crew. Had never thought that, like, they hit me up 2023, like in June. One of their emails landed in my inbox. It had gone through our help desk email. I had seen those cars, it's like a little spec racer thing. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Tube chassis, like really strong bodywork, motorcycle powered, pretty cool. Most of the parts come to the factory and are assembled in Texas. Like they designed everything. They built a lot of stuff. It's like a bespoke race car, but it's built to run cheap. I think their running costs in that car are like $120 an hour right now, is what they claim.
Is it smaller?
That's with fuel and tires.
Is it smaller than a Radical?
Pretty small. It's just under, I think it's just over or just under 10 feet long.
Okay.
And a little bit narrower, but, so probably it's like a 3/4 scale Radical.
Okay.
But, the running cost is super reasonable, like hyper cheap. And that's like amortized, over, say you run it 1,000 hours, it's going to cost you this amount of money per hour. And that's tires, fuel, brakes, engine rebuild, blah, blah, blah. So real reasonable to play with. Probably cheaper than like a Honda Civic. Like the junk we play with is probably twice as much per hour if you like actually do the math. So
I have,
don't tell me. I don't do the math. I don't want to know. But yeah, I mean, we had a great year with them. They hit me up in 2023, through our general help desk email. I had a call with them just to like say, just to tell them what we do. And they were like, yeah, we know what you do. We want to be a part of that. And we had the Laguna event at the end of the year that like worked into their schedule. They've got a lot of them in Canada, some of them in Mexico, a lot of them are West Coast or like Texas based. And they had never done a one make series ever at that time. So it was the first time that they had ever had a Rush only race. It was at Laguna in 2023, the first event that we ever did there too. And I think they had like 20 some cars. It was honestly a really good weekend for them. And they were like begging over the winter, like, we want to do more. We really like the guys at the factory, really nice people. So we did 5 or 6 rounds this year or last year. And then this year, they're basically coming to everything right now is the commitment. So, great to have them as part of our family. And the other thing that like spectators at Road America and Lime Rock, like they all thought the Rushes were so sick because they sound like little F1 cars and they're all the parody's dead on because they're the same car. The spectators loved it. More wheel to wheel equals more fun for spectators, more work for us behind the scenes, but more fun for spectators.
So I'd be amiss if I didn't ask, how are you going to work this schedule, the day-to-day schedule out?
Well, if you look at the website, we've already got all the schedules published, which has never happened before. HPDE effectively like wasn't a part of the schedules, but it was on Sundays. And turns out when you do math, it's really hard when you're, especially like at a Laguna or a Road America or like Lime Rock, we couldn't do it. But at Laguna or Road America, like it's really hard to make any money with HPDE, and like we need to exist, and to exist we have to pay all our bills. So we're moving HPDE to more dedicated weekends, and there will be some like Sunday afternoon like open track sessions. So there'll be like for the diehards that like want to hang in our paddock, want to drive with us. There's going to be some opportunity to drive, but we really want to improve our DE experience to like across the next 2 or 3 years. We want to build out like a whole separate, better funnel system that is like the best possible DE experience versus like a sort of ignored DE experience, because we're doing too much junk on Friday and Saturday, and we try to get awards done on Saturday for the competition stuff. So with the exception of Lime Rock, which can't run on Sunday, they are going to be like a full 3-day competition. And then like midday Sunday is the finales and the podium. Because we found many times at these festival events like Laguna and Road America specifically, that like there's a lot of locals that want to come check us out. They are working on Saturday even, or they got the kids' baseball games or whatever, or they're going to church on Sunday. And then Sunday at 11, they're like, all right, let's go to the racetrack. Or Sunday at 9 a.m., they're like, let's go to the racetrack. And we want to give them something to look at. We had a ton of people show up at Road America just to like see what we did. It's just like a super cheap ticket just to come in the gates on a Sunday. So let's put on a show for them. So yeah, win on Sunday, sell on Monday is, that's been a thing forever in racing. So we're going to do some winning on Sunday. So it worked really well at Pit Race. We did a 3-day competition schedule at Pit Race. And obviously some drivers want to go home first thing in the morning on Sunday, but not everybody. There was a lot of drivers that remarked to me that like, oh, it was so nice to have 2 nights to fix my car and sort things out. And then I got a chance at the end, Time Attack especially, people hadn't been there. They did a test day on Thursday. ASM did a test day on Thursday at Pit Race. Figured some stuff out. They broke something on Friday. They're fixing it. They run it on Saturday. They get their head straight, and then they get the last chance on Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning. It's you sort things out. It becomes a little bit longer weekend, but most of the people don't leave until midday Sunday anyway. So we're stretching the competition out a tiny bit. Most of the events are 3-day weekends, but yeah, that's how the schedule works. The schedules are all the tentative schedules, and which are pretty well thought out. They're all live and published on the website. So,
okay, sweet. Let's get a little nitty gritty with the rules. It's I'll lead with it's a 8.9 to 1 power to weight class, right?
Yep. Yeah, roughly 9 to 1. Just it's like 8.9x. I forget what the exact numbers are, but there was a reason I did math that way, because some cars are right around there, so I can use it as like a starting point. So,
okay. And you said it parallels the Gridlife Touring Cup rules, but I'm assuming you're going to allow bigger aero, or are we still using modifiers? Like, how's that all working out?
So it obviously changes a little bit from GLTC. GLTC was really at first like the hope was to discourage aero and like just run cars a little bit more normal, like air dam and maybe a small wing or spoiler. And the modifiers still kind of lean that way, even though a lot of people run wings in Touring Cup. People just like how wings look, is what half of them say. They're like, oh, the wing looks sick, I'm going to leave the wing on. I'll take the 3%. This one allows 6-inch aero, and it allows, non-flat splitters. It doesn't define wing shape, but it does define location. It's got to be in a certain distance from the car, and you can run a bigger wing, you can run a bigger splitter, you can run a diffuser, you can run canards. If you don't, you can take weight out. So it's allowing aero and then giving back weight for people that don't choose to take it, because a lot of cars in this segment, they're going to come into it with, pro designed or like pretty big aero. Even if it's like a homologated car, it's going to come in with a bunch of aero. So the aero allowances are definitely bigger. The cars are intended to be faster, so they're quite a bit bigger.
How have you guys done the math on how much faster you expect these cars to be?
If you look at, like, say, a Mid-Ohio, it's probably going to be about 6 or 7 seconds faster than Touring Cup. And we've got a little bit of data, from obviously Pro Series that some of these cars will have ran in the past, but then they're usually on like a Michelin Slick or something like that. some of our probably most accurate data was Luke McGrew a couple of years ago at Mid-Ohio, did really well in Touring Cup. And then he put his big tune in and he ran track mod. He like bought a time attack ticket and a Touring Cup ticket. So it was a pretty busy weekend for him. I think he won track mod or got like P2. But if I recall off the top of my head, I've got it in a file somewhere, but it was like a 6-second delta. And that would be a little bit underpowered, a tiny bit undertired, or a little bit overpowered, undertired, and no aero. So I'm guessing it's going to be within probably 5-6 seconds. So if I recall, as I said earlier, my brain's a little bit cloudy. I've actually been doing a bathroom remodel too, and running a construction company and working at Gridlife, and it's 2 days after New Year's. So yeah, a lot of things happening now. But if I recall, it's like 5-6 seconds. So
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm on the website, so I believe you're also talking about putting 200 treadwear tires on these beasts.
Yeah, we've got a TBD on that. We've got a bunch of requests for proposal out. This doesn't debut until Midwest Festival. We figure we're going to launch it at our biggest party. So it'll debut early June. But we've got a TBD on tires because we've got requests for proposal because it's potentially going to be a spec tire. It might also mirror the GLTC tire block, which is the way GLTC works is it has an allowed block of tires, not just like every 200. And then there's some BOP for some tires in the like the Nexon last year was a 3% tire. You had to run 3 extra percent for running the Nexon, and it turns out that's probably the parity is probably pretty close with that. Obviously, a little bit track dependent and weight dependent, but we have started going down the tire BOP world. Eventually, there's a good chance that like we might move towards a Formula Drift model where the tires have to support the series and the drivers. And those are the only allowed tires. And now we've started really messing with tire BOP, which is obviously a little bit of a moving target. The 200 treadwear world like takes a different shade every 10 months. There's always some new hotness, and that'll be a moving target. But we got a lot of data. We take a lot of data. We keep it. We study it. Talk to all the drivers constantly. Like that's about half of my life is just talking to drivers about their thoughts, trying to keep building the class better and better and better for them, and then absorbing the ear beatings they give me, how much I got it right or how much I got it wrong, or both. So,
you just released the rules too. I'm sure your phone was on fire.
It was a busy one. Yeah, largely a very positive response. Got some great feedback. There have been some changes. We released the provisional rules at PRI, and they were all black font. There have been some changes in red since then, and those rules will likely firm up around the end of January because we're hoping to get these RFPs back from tire manufacturers mid-January. If something works, we might go with a spec tire. We might not. There's a lot of TBD there. Yeah.
So it could be a Falcon, it could be a Hoosier, maybe it could be any one of the tire manufacturers.
Yeah, it could be Toyo, Yoko. There's a lot of companies that have requested RFPs. We've talked to all of them. We've got a great working relationship, obviously, with Toyo and Falcon. They're big time partners of ours. They're like they're one of the reasons we exist is support from these companies, and they're trying to support the series. They're looking for data from drivers. They're looking for exposure from drivers. They're looking to support drivers. So those two companies, and then others are looking to enter the fray as well, which is super cool.
Sweet. Yep. What other rules that you know of, or areas of the rules that are going to be significantly different from Touring Cup?
So it's been a little while since I drafted these things, like 3 months ago. It's got a lot less of the little minutia that has worked its way into Touring Cup. It's a little bit simpler in many respects on like the build and the restrictions. There's obviously some cars in this bracket that exist in the used car world that aren't even road going cars sometimes. So the tube frame allowance is a little bit less. I don't expect to see like a bunch of like GT3 pro race cars detuned to jump in this, but like if they do, we might need to, play with some of the rules, but it's still at its core, it's power to weight and a tire class. And there's like, besides driver talent, there's really three things that like make speed, and it's power. It's power band, obviously, power band and tires and aero. Mm-hmm. And then there's a million versions of those three things. A lot of it comes down to the development too. And some of these pro chassis might benefit quite a bit from just, like setup books from years past, obviously. But it's kind of amazed me how fast Touring Cup has gotten, because that crowd of drivers has turned into like it's such a pro level of driver nowadays. Versus like the top 20 could probably go run pro just about anywhere with a halfway decent crew and do well. I never expected it to be that nuts. Never expected to go that fast. And now we've got other sanctioning bodies saying, oh, everybody must be cheating because our class has better tires and we're going 4 seconds slower. And I just think like the more you put a crowd of really fast drivers together and they're all chasing the same carrot, like all those rabbits go faster when they're chasing the same carrot on the same track on the same day. And I think there is something to be said for a single make series or single class series versus mixed class racing, smaller fields. I do think that if a bunch of axe murders show up in GT, that they're going to go really dumb fast. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but you just, I do see that like they push each other so much when they know that everybody out there is racing them. So yeah, we'll see where it ends up.
Yeah. It's something I iterate on this podcast a lot is when you're around a bunch of killers, you have no choice but to be a killer, right? So
yeah, or you get to chase them and you will eventually turn into one if you chase them long enough.
Yeah, correct. Right. So, the more competitive your group is, your run group, your race group, whatever it's going to be, the faster you all are going to start propelling each other.
Yeah, you look at Spec Miata, right? Like national level Spec Miata, whether it be SCCA or NASA, or even SVRA runs it now. Like if you get a bunch of really quick drivers, they're going to all turn into really fast drivers. And then they're going to turn into a bunch of axe murderers, especially if they spend weekend in, weekend out chasing each other. Like the high level of Spec Miata is crazy for like how little horsepower those cars have. Like 130, 140 horsepower max, maybe. It's been a while since I paid too much attention, but like I think the 99 VVTi or whatever, VVT motors or whatever, they don't make like too much more than 130. But they're going so fast. Like it's wild to watch. Same thing with like a Spec Racer Ford, or whatever they're called now. They got different engines. I think they got fit motors. I don't know what they got, or newer Ford motors, whatever. But you put a bunch of people that want to go fast together in close proximity cars, like pace wise, like it's amazing how fast they can go. So like they'll find all of it so much faster than if one of them just goes to a track day by himself. So
for sure. And it's driver development, it's car development, it's race program development. It's so many things that go into it. And if they're all doing it and they're all pushing each other, if they're all peeking over their car going, oh, what's that guy doing over there? I wonder why he's doing that. Maybe I should incorporate that into even my track side procedures,
Yeah. What he's got a checklist. Maybe I should do a checklist so I don't forget to do 2/3 of the things.
Right.
Now like everybody's got a checklist taped to the door of their trailer or taped to their toolbox. It's like bizarre how like even the little simple things. And I don't do these things because I'm just out there screwing around. But I walk through all the pits all the time. Like a couple times a year I race. Like I'm just happy to drive around a little bit. But the pits are so organized now. Like everybody's got a program. It's stupid. I never expected this. But like for numbers, I think I said this on a podcast recently, but I forget which. Maybe it was ours. I don't know. But in like 2016, maybe, I remember when our street mod class, which is rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, can run 285s max and 255s for all wheel drive. And like power, you can make a lot of power, but our street mod class at Gingerman ran a 139.8. And I remember thinking, holy cow, they went faster than 140s. And like never thought that would happen. I've been going to Gingerman for 15 years at that point. And I think right now the fastest street mod cars like almost run 29s. Like they're like 10 seconds faster. And the tire technologies have improved, but the drivers themselves have improved. The power has improved. Like the cars are better. The setup is better. Like everything is better. And the progression, I don't know if it ever stops. Like it might get the intervals, like the gains might get smaller. Sure. But like, do you ever stop? I don't think anybody ever stops. If you're in a good field, or if you're in competition, like this never ends. So,
yeah, and the better your competition is, the less likely you're going to give up, right? So you have no choice but to keep going and keep pushing.
I remember thinking that same year that we were like at peak time attack. Like, oh, they're never going to keep pushing this hard, right? Like they're not gonna. And like we still reset overall records, like even in the unlimited, like, and the unlimited drivers come and go. And like I thought like Houghton and Will Young and like that those days back in the day, I thought we were like peak time attack. And those records have gotten shattered by multiple seconds. Ferris and Steve Luca, and like there's wild builds out there, and the potential nowadays, like the potential for the cars and the tires and like like even like shock technology, and it never stops. Like if it stagnates, it's because everybody quit, you know?
Right. But that's the thing, right? When I start to hear people go, oh, the grind, I know you're not having fun anymore and your dedication to competition is slowing down. But when you don't hear that kind of language and everyone is pushing, it's going to get crazy fast.
It's not, or it's just going to keep staying crazy. Like it feels like it's been crazy Gridlife forever. Like I can't believe how much faster they go every year. Even in like a power to weight class, like Touring Cup, we like take away the really fast tires and they still beat the lap times from the year before. Like it's nuts just because they keep pushing. They don't stop. It blows me away. And I doubt that it will like ever stop. Like at some point, where does it end? Are they going to find all of it? Maybe, but like, then there's still going to be a little bit more. If they found all of it, like they'll figure something else out. They're all nuts. They're all barbarians.
Yeah. Some of it, I think, to your credit, has to do with how your rules are written. You eliminate a lot of gray area that I think exists in most rule sets, and then you still give them some freedom. Your leash is this long. Yeah, figure out the widget. They
definitely have like like the leash is long, but it's also like it's designed, Touring Cup especially, and Time Attack as well, obviously.
Right.
But it's designed to be like, it's all designed to be kind of a builder's series. Like if it spins your wheels and gets you going, waking up in the morning thinking about cars, and thinking about like, oh, what can I do to build a better mousetrap than the other drivers? I think that like we're probably a decent place for you to play. I hope you come play with us, because that's what always spun my brain is like, I don't have any money. How can I, with no money, try to be in the top 10? You know what I mean? Like just be inventive, develop the car more. Like, is there a hole in the rules that allows me to build a thing because of the wording? And like, I try to eliminate those holes. But obviously, there's still a long leash. You're allowed to do a lot of stuff for your suspension. Yeah, you're allowed to do whatever you want with an engine, or you can run a junkyard engine and flat tune it. Like there's so many options. So it's really a builder's class, and Time Attack has always been a builder's class. Like it's always a driver, tinkerer, builder class.
Right. So, but that's where your perfect storm is for how competitive things are. You
For
give
sure. Yeah.
you give them the ability to think about how to build that mousetrap all day.
Yeah.
And they start professionalizing their race programs.
Sure. I think there's one other benefit. Like, yeah, racing's expensive. Everybody says racing, oh, it's so expensive. It's so expensive. Well, it's really expensive. I know what it costs just to put these events on. I've spent over $1 million. Me and 10 of my friends, we spent $1 million putting some of these events on for one event.
Mm-hmm.
Like our cost to produce it's crazy, but like ends up being like the sickest 4 days ever. But like, I know what this costs. I know how hard it is. I think that nagging, like, it keeps these people going. That thought, it makes them wake up and like go to their day jobs and hustle and work hard. It did for me back in the day. Like when I was racing STL and Honda Challenge 2, I wasn't making very much money. And when I started racing, I was spending a little bit, but I was working harder. I was like being more efficient. I was trying harder. I was pushing, my construction business harder. And it made me be better at making the money so I could do this. And then I was a better provider for the family. Like the whole thing ended up like, you got to wake up and have something that drives you. And I do think that like for many of the people in our paddock and probably every paddock, just the fact that they do racing makes them a more successful human being so they can do racing. But it also, by proxy, just makes them a more successful human being. Like I think we all got to have a reason to get up in the morning, and it might not just be to pay your bills. It might be because like in 6 weeks you got a thing. And I think that's important. I think there's like a human nature argument for like, okay, we need to have like, we got to have a war to fight. Like, what is our war to fight? Our war to fight is at the racetrack, which is like the best place to fight a war. So
I think that Gridlife GT is going to way surpass your 5 or 6 seconds because the way you write your rules are different from how Grand Am used to write their rules, how Pirelli writes their rules, how TCA, TCR rules are written, right?
Yeah.
And if you get the same mindset, and these cars are affordable.
Nowadays people are spending crazy amounts just to build like spec Miatas. You could buy a used, name a GTR car or GT4 car or a TCR car. You could buy a used one and then you could start playing with it.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of car.
It's a lot of
cars. A lot of cars.
And then you get to tinker with it because they weren't allowed to tinker with them, but so much.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. It was a much like when you're in a homologated GT class globally, like you can only do so much. We're obviously taking away some of the tire from some of those homologated classes. Regardless of what tire or tires we land with, like it's not going to be a Pirelli or Michelin slick, but as far as pace goes, but it'll also be a more economical tire to run on and more of a viable, sustainable like program to build for yourself if you want to do this 4 or 5 times a year. Which is always kind of that's the main reason to go with, a quote unquote 200 treadwear tire, even though 200 treadwear tires are now like, they cost a lot of money. But they do last a lot longer. Yeah, they're real fast now. They're as fast as like the Hoosier RS304 when I started like doing wheel to wheel was like, oh my gosh, it's never going to be any better. And like, a Bridgestone or even like a Falcon or obviously the new Hoosier Track Day Pro, like those tires are so fast. They're stupid fast. AO52, like AO52 is always fast. And it doesn't even matter the temperature, It's wild how far some of this technology has come with tires, but that's just like the same thing with any piece of the sport. You talk about how crazy data has gotten. Nowadays, like AI can analyze your laps while you're out there, and then it can send you an email to your phone and tell you how to go faster, like Fire Laps and a bunch of other services like that exist. It's crazy.
Yep.
How good things have gotten and how like if you want to put the work in and if you like buy a few things, buy some pieces, and if you just listen to others or like actually dive into your data, like everything is so good. Versus even 10 years ago, like a DL1 back in the day, like a data logger, like you'd have to it had a bunch of like screws on it for inputs, like you put here's your 5 volt for this sensor and that sensor and whatever. And like, it was the best that you could get amateur level back in the day. I think I have one on my shelf still. I have a hot lap timer, which was like an in-car dash lap timer, and you had a 12-volt battery and a beacon trackside, which you inevitably forgot.
Yep. You left it trackside.
Like, yeah, there was like 10 of them next to the racetrack at any given time, and then you forgot it, and you had to drive 20 miles back to pick up your hot lap and your CarQuest auto battery. But like that was like the peak of cool, like in 09, 08, whatever. Like it's so much cooler now. You can do so much more with just a cell phone than you could back, 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
For sure.
Like everything is better.
So I found a out of date M2. They're already trying to sell the M2.
Like a GT4 car?
Yeah.
It's
that one's a little spicy. It's 95,000.
I've seen like 10 of them in the 80 and 90 range. It seems expensive. That's a really fast car.
Yeah, but let me see if I can find a TCR. Because
I drove an M4 GT4 car, a brand new one, at the Hoosier Track Day Pro tire launch, like in September, maybe late September, mid-September. And so they launched this tire. They flew a bunch of they flew NASA, SCCA, tons of journalists and a bunch of YouTubers, and then like my dumbass out to play with this tire.
Right.
And it was a really it was such a great tire launch. It was so fun. But like a GT4 car is so legit.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe how fun it was and how fast it was. It blew me away, made me hate everything that I've ever built race car wise.
I'm trying to find something on. I didn't find any on eBay.
I know of someone right now buying, like they literally just got to Florida. It's a regular Gridlife driver. And their sponsor bought, and he had to go pick it up. Him and his crew had to go pick it up. But their sponsor bought a Honda Civic TCR car, brand new engine, recently refreshed, just because the rules were announced. And he was like, okay, I want to go play with that. This is probably a decent place to park money. Don't crash my race car. Go pick it up. Let's go racing. So I know of a TCR car that just got purchased or will get purchased tomorrow by a Gridlife regular, which is a wild story. And I know of multiple Corvettes that will probably up their tunes, play with things a little bit once the rules get finalized, which is kind of like, obviously we have a torque problem in Touring Cup. Like the torquier cars are really harder to BOP. So that was that's also part of like the detuned Corvette is a really good race car. Maybe don't detune it so much, and you can play here too. So maybe we turn Touring Cup a little bit more into what it was supposed to be, 9 years ago when we started thinking about it. So, okay.
So I need somebody to buy one of these, last generation NASCARs that are out there. Dude, on dirt cheap.
They're so cheap. You look at like a TA, like a Trans Am 2 car, like you can buy a roller for like $10,000, no engine, like drop any V8 in and you could easily hit the power to weight. You can even put like a turbo K series in one and make it a dork car. But like there's so many cool race cars out there that like the series they were originally built for and built with no expense spared.
Right.
Has passed them by. So like, let's build them a cool power to weight class and like put them on TV. Like we're going to try to live stream everything. And we're trying to get these live streams on like actual platforms, like big platforms. Like we're pushing real hard to get, the fun track day vibe, which still is the Gridlife paddock, to turn it into like, it's not going to be pro racing, but it's like baby fun early IMSA pro racing. Like we're really pushing hard. We're trying to give them the product they deserve and put it in front of big audiences. So like that's a goal too, but we want to put on a good show. And some of these cars are so cool. Like a 10-year-old pro race car is a rad car.
Okay.
Like let's give them a place to play.
Within 100 miles of me, there's a last generation BTCC car for sale.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
And an Australian supercar.
Oh, I think I've seen the Australian supercar. Somebody sent me that one recently. Yeah. V8 supercar.
Yeah. Like,
which is effectively like a NASCAR. Like,
but
it's just different, you know.
Well, the BTCC car is $30,000.
Which one was that? Somebody sent me a couple of those, like older ones.
Yeah, it's
what kind?
It's a Ford Falcon.
Yeah. I think I've been shared that one.
So, I mean, there's so many options out there of really highly developed. I mean, you have to do your due diligence, right, when you're looking at used race cars, but there's so many crazy options that could fit this category for Gridlife GT that it's wild.
Yeah, I think we can put on a cool show. Like the parity it's still a power to weight class with like, you know, the tires should be in the attainable BOP range. I think it could be really fun. Like it's a class that has my brain spinning. I'm not going to build a car for it, but it's got my brain spinning. Like I could just turn the boost up on my Civic. Like that seems really dumb, but like I've definitely thought about it for more than an hour.
I don't know if I would turn the boost up on a Honda, but
it's a 1.5 liter too. It's a little baby boy. So,
oh Lord.
But I think the wheel horsepower record on this exact engine, rods and pistons, and everything wise is like 480. So it's got some headroom. I only need like 275. So, but it's got a lot of people definitely brainstorming and in my inbox and in my Facebook inbox about like, hey, what about this? What do you think about this? Would this be allowed? Would this be allowed? What's your thoughts on this? I'm like, it's not my responsibility to build your race car for you. But I'm glad you're stoked about it. So the actual response and like even just like talking with you for the last 45 minutes, like you're already looking at cars. You're like, yo, there's a lot of cars that fit this.
A lot.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason it's going to exist is because I think we can put on a cool show with some super unique cars. Some of these cars, you know, besides fuel, it's going to be more fuel than a touring cup, but like they're going to probably be in the same consumable range as a Gridlife touring cup car or like a time attack car. Like this is still, you know, high level amateur attainability. It doesn't have to be, you know, $25,000 a weekend, you know, pro racing or enduro racing. Like consumables that these things would burn down in like 14 hours of enduros is a lot, but like a couple hours of sprint racing, like that's not so bad. You don't have to rebuild the thing every time. So,
and I think that's the magic of the super sprints when you're talking about this class is that the Pirellis, even if you allowed them, which you're not going to likely, we don't know, maybe Pirelli pays you enough money for it, but they're not going to come up to heat fast enough, right?
Yeah, like, it'll be a couple of difficult laps for them at the front, you know.
Yeah,
we don't want to do like we don't want to do 2-hour races because like all the magic is like in the opening 3 laps and in the closing 3 laps. Like, why do we need it? Like, why do we need 100 laps in the middle? You know what I mean?
Yeah, where everyone gets spaced out. Nobody is racing anybody. It takes forever to find somebody.
You're just conserving tires or like saving fuel, and you end up like gaming the BOP and gaming like the crew chief, which is like that's a whole nother sport and a whole nother thing. And I'm glad like an IMSA and similar do it. Like it's sick. That's not what we do. So we're excited that people seem to be excited about faster super sprint racing. And like what's the average YouTube video length like that people watch? Like it's like 15 minutes. So like let's not make the racing too much longer. Let's get the green flag and the checker like in that block, and like that's someday I think it'll work pretty well for eyeballs on racing. Like we wanted to find a hole that existed in like in the offerings. We didn't want to steal things from everybody else. We want to like create more ovens versus slice the pie thinner. We always say that is like, let's not just take the same pie. Let's like make more pies, and like maybe we need to make more ovens before we make more pies. So,
well, it sounds good to me. What else do we need to cover for Grand Touring here?
I think we covered most of the bases. It's going to basically be faster version of Touring Cup. Hopefully same paddock vibes. Hopefully we can instill the same goals of like, hey, don't crash your race car, even though Touring Cup drivers sometimes crash their race cars.
Yeah.
That's obviously just a function of like, you put cars 4 cars wide and everybody's trying to win. That stinks, but it does happen sometimes. We're initiating a new one of the new rules in Touring Cup that's gotten a little bit of, it's mostly positive pushback, but Touring Cup, the season points were your best 14 races of the weekend plus or of the year plus the last 4, which were at the finale. And now we're not allowing you to, or basically if you DQ for technical, or you DQ or you lose spots for driver behavior, that has to be one of your 14 races. So we're really going to encourage drivers to behave and also to have a little bit of a buffer to make sure you don't blow it on the dyno or blow it on scales. Just to try to keep the culture of Touring Cup, and this is going to extend into other classes. Keep the culture of Touring Cup that like we had in 2019. We really want to bring that and keep it forever. Is all those cars that I'm racing are legal, and I trust them all so much that they're not gonna crash into me, and this is the best weekend ever. Like those things all contribute to best weekend ever. So want to keep that top of mind. So you don't get to pick and choose your best races. You pick and choose your best races, but you also have to choose your worst races. So have no worst races it's going to be one small change this year, but obviously the top 10 are generally very clean, but this will encourage, everybody hopefully a little bit more just to keep it clean and keep it legal. So
yeah, keep it clean on the dyno, on the scales, keep it clean on the track. So
yeah, I try to bring the dyno everywhere. I bring the scales everywhere, and we always go to a racetrack. So yeah, keep it tight, keep it legal. And like the goal is always like just best weekend ever. And if everybody keeps it clean, it's always got a much better chance of everybody thinking it's the best weekend ever. So yeah, some of the urgency and the insanity that gets into your head when you're 3 cars wide, we do want it to be. We want these drivers to think their way through every lap versus seat of their pants through some of those difficult moments where you need to drive within the limit of your talent, your car, and your racetrack. So yeah, keeping it measured and keeping it solid it's a huge goal, always is, but like it's a huge goal especially for 2025. So
awesome. So before we wrap up, let's hit this new segment I warned you about. Since you've heard every excuse under the book, what is your favorite racer excuse?
So would this be favorite for me to use or favorite for someone else to tell me, or both?
No, only one. I don't want to cheat the system. Let's do what's the favorite one you've heard?
Yeah, I remember texting you about it a week or 2 ago. What did I text you? I'm curious. Yeah, my personal favorite one is I don't drive that much. That's why I'm not that fast. But that's not a great racer excuse. Yeah, it's
only you can control seat time.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think like, oh, you rent racetracks all the time. Like you should be able to get lots of seat time. But I don't get as much seat time as I should. I kind of wish I got a lot more.
I don't think you're adding any seat time when you're adding classes to yourself to manage, but
Yeah, it like the most common one is I had a personal best going until I hit traffic. Like that is the most common one. Like it's not my favorite. My favorite is probably those freaking drift cars are ruining the racetrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just is makes me laugh every time. I'm like, well, everybody's in the same racetrack as you. So
Yeah.
and I really don't think drift cars ruin the racetrack either. Typically they're slightly offline. There might be the marbles might hurt a little bit, but it's still tire and asphalt dependent. But like you add rubber to a track, it rubbers in, and like NASCAR dudes have been using and drag racing have been using the word, oh, the track is really rubbered in right now. It's great. Like they've been saying that forever. And road racers just look at drift cars and they're like, oh, that's a great excuse. I'm going to talk about that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to call out Evan because I'm pretty sure your TCR champion was complaining about that on another podcast.
Oh yeah. The we also do have this year. If you look at the schedule, we've got some dedicated time built in just to blow the racetrack off. So that'll be more of a goal is some overage. So unless they all blow up their EJ25s and K24s and oiled on the racetrack, there will be more dedicated time to run that blower around or clean up that racetrack. So, yeah, Evan keeps going faster and faster and faster in that little Integra.
Right.
So I don't think the track was all that bad, but it's definitely a racer excuse. Yeah. Definitely the most common, one of the most common, but the most common is probably, oh, I hit traffic. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But
we all hit traffic.
The drifters ruin the racetrack. There's so much rubber out there. Like everybody says. Yeah.
All right.
We've seen so many PBs also after drift sessions. Yeah, PBs do happen after drift sessions, and then they still complain.
Well, so you got to have a whole complaint.
Yep.
All right, my man. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate you having some flexibility. I had a death in the family, so we had to move from Monday to today. But January 10, we've got Gold Pass and membership tickets on sale. So for members, first it's going to be the podium and membership drivers, and then Gold Pass like 1 hour later. And Gold Pass is for returning Gold Pass drivers. So January 10. People can buy some tickets, and then shortly thereafter, stay tuned to Gridlife channels. And if you're signed up for emails and stuff, you get notifications about buying single events. So we had a really impressively and humbling, impressive ticket buying of our spectators as well for some of the pre-sales. Like I couldn't believe it's super humbling. Like it's impressive how dedicated they are. I don't know, it's impressive. It's humbling more than impressive. I'm bad at words. It's late at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, humbling that they want to keep coming back. And pre-sales went great. That helps us exist. And hopefully all the details that we've got ironed out make ticketing smoother than ever and make the experience better for all the drivers. And January 10 is when, 8 days from now or whatever is when everything starts going. So, I love our drivers, and I love the community around us. I love the people that just hang out and watch. Like we couldn't do this without any of them. Like they actually are Gridlife. We are just the people that get to help make it happen. So it's a great community to be part of, and I'm honored to be one of the people that gets to show up and sort of be one of the faces of it. So,
are you kidding? You're the ringmaster.
Well, I mean, there's a few other ringmasters. If I was to say who the actual ringmaster was, it'd probably be Emma Adams. She's the ringmaster. Yeah. Trisha this year, and Trisha moved on to Big Festival Land, and Emma's stealing a lot of her jobs. And Emma's been my timing scoring and sort of like one of my right hands forever. And then Abe and John Raymond and our CEO, Michael, Chris Stewart, my co-founder, and one of my oldest, bestest friends. There's Charlie behind the scenes, freaking Sean behind the scenes, all the media people behind the scenes. Like James with the marketing. Like, there's just too many people to not thank. Like, there's so many people making this thing move. I just kind of get to be the one that they make stickers of that I don't love. I don't love that they make stickers with my face. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people behind the scenes making this thing go. There's a lot of ringmasters. I'm happy that it's turned into a thing that is like good for the industry and good for the sport. And I hope it helps every sanctioning body and every racetrack, every weekend of the year that they are open. I hope it helps grow the entirety of the sport versus like I don't want to see a NASA weekend suffer because Gridlife's having a weekend. I don't want to see a SCCA weekend suffer or DE weekend suffer. Like, I want everybody to get better if we're getting better, and we're putting more eyeballs, and those people see, oh, road courses are cool. I should go try one of those. How do I do that? The more we build the awareness of this whole thing, the reality is the more ovens, more pies versus just slice that pie thinner. Like, that's actually a thing. We've been talking about that, with Hayward from SCCA forever. It was actually, I think, one of the things that he said first, when they launched the Track Night in America program, like, let's make this so accessible that you can't not do it, and I think there's a lot of people in that space now. It's like the famine mindset doesn't make the racing world go round. Like, we need to grow this thing, keep growing this thing, and then it just gets better and better too. Like, it's small clubs stink. Like, big awesome clubs rule.
For sure. All right, sir. I wanted to give you my condolences. This is the podcasting world. I'll stay flexible. You keep doing what you do. Take care of your family.
Monday was I was in such a bummer mood that just didn't want to talk. It's like, I'm going to be a real downer if I talk right now. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. And Gridlife Official and Grid.life. I think we have gridlife.com. I think that redirects. We bought that a while ago. But
Grid.life, that works.
Grid.life is the main website, and gridlife.com should be the same website. I don't remember, but we own it. I don't know if it redirects, but I don't deal with the website that much.
Website Ringmaster, fix that if it doesn't.
Yeah, we have way more people that are smarter than me to deal with the website. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that supports us, and I appreciate you reaching out, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Thanks a lot.
Great. Yep. Have a great night.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.